Happy birthday to Eliot Wolf, the Patriots de facto GM, turns 42 today. If you want to wish him a happy birthday, spam HBD down in the comments. Coming up on today's show, got a mock draft roundup. What quarterback will the Patriots take? Let's discuss. I'm Harrison Graham from Chat Sports, and you are watching Patriots Today. A couple of big mock drafts have dropped, as both Mel Kiper and Daniel Jeremiah have dropped their latest mock drafts. And with the Patriots picking number 3 overall, are they going to go with Jayden Daniels? Could it be Drake Maye? We're going to discuss it here on today's show. Let's bring Rolly in, a.k.a. Nick Rohloff. Rolly, let's start with Kiper here. He's got Drake Maye as the number 3 pick, as he had Washington taking Jayden Daniels at number 2. This, of course, has been a scenario that we would certainly prefer.
Didn't he just say that the Patriots didn't like Maye, but then had him in his mock draft? A little suspect out of little Mel Kiper, if you ask me. But he did have this to say on the Patriots' 3rd pick. He said, "I'm not as confident as I was before free agency began. Patriots signed Jacoby Brissett to a 1-year deal, and he could be the bridge option to a rookie. But then when you look at the other signings, we are sure they're not looking beyond 2024 already." And he said, "Right now, I'm sticking with my gut in Maye, who really has a high ceiling if he can clean up a couple of small issues with his mechanics." But he did talk in his mock draft article a lot about New England potentially trading down, Harrison. He stuck with Drake Maye to New England at pick 3, but the bulk of his little essay there on the 3rd pick was about how they could trade down and how he would trade down if he was Eliot Wolf.
Yeah, as we've discussed here on the channel a lot, there's been a lot of buzz. Minnesota trying to move up with those 2 first-round picks. And, yeah, Kiper on Monday, before he dropped his new mock on Tuesday, they did a new, I think they call it first draft pod with Field Yates at ESPN. And he said that, he kind of threw out a loose phrase of, "We've been hearing the Patriots may not love Drake Maye." It didn't really sound like super sourced. It kind of just sounded like a vague statement, because we talked on this show also that there was another report that the Patriots do really like Drake Maye. It's certainly smokescreen season. It's hard to know what's true and what's not. But Rolly and I have been pretty consistent in this. If Drake Maye is available at 3, I would draft him. Rolly would draft him. I know there's a lot of holes to still fill on this roster. It wouldn't be a perfect situation for him in his rookie season. But, again, you got to be thinking beyond this year, too, what quarterbacks are going to be available for the Patriots. This might be your best chance to get a true franchise guy. So what will the Patriots do with the number 3 pick? If you think they're going to stay there and select somebody, type S for stay. If you think they're going to trade out, type T for trade. I think it could go either way. It kind of feels like it is 50-50. Let us know what you guys think. But obviously, Rolly, I mean, we've talked about all these quarterbacks ad nauseum, but we know there's, new people that watch Patriots Today all the time. He's got the full package. He's 6'4", 225 pounds. He had a better statistical season in 2022 than 2023, but I think there was also better structure around him in that year as well. There's really nothing he can't do. Are there certain things like Kiper's referring to mechanically that he could clean up, and maybe some decision-making that could be a little crisper? Sure, but this is a very, very good prospect.
Yeah, I mean, he can really do it all, and I've kind of had him as someone who could be that QB1 type. And listen, don't get it twisted. Like, even though he's right now potentially going 3rd overall to New England, in other years, he could be the number 1 overall pick without a doubt. And Harrison and I have both been outspoken about it, how we think it's a little bit of a joke that Drake Maye right now could be QB3. I mean, it could be New England's gain, but I'd come on here and I'm going to argue that Drake Maye has potentially the highest ceiling out of any of the quarterbacks in this draft class, and that includes Caleb Williams, who's a terrific prospect, and there's no doubt he should go number 1 overall because he's more polished to this point, and he still has a high ceiling himself. But if Drake Maye hits that ceiling, which means he gets to the best possible player he could be, I mean, we're talking about a guy who could be a blend of Justin Herbert throwing the football, but also with the legs of Josh Allen, because that's the way he runs the football with that physicality. You have the potential. I'm not saying he's going to be that, but if he hits that ceiling, he could be a top 5 quarterback in all of football, and I'd argue he can be top 3 quarterback in all of football. That's the type of ceiling this guy has.
Yeah, I mean, the physical attributes are just off the charts. There's no doubt about it. And while I'm a little higher on Caleb than Drake, I have also said I think Drake is closer to Caleb than Daniels is to Drake. Like, to me, it's Caleb's QB1, Drake is a close-ish QB2, and then there's a somewhat big gap, not big gap, but a gap to Jayden Daniels. And then I would say there's a pretty notable gap to whoever QB4 is. I would go Michael Penix. I know most evaluators have him 5 or 6. I don't really get that. I know there's medical concerns, but that's neither here nor there. But I'm with you. Like, that's why I keep saying, like, I get the appeal to trading down and getting more, but if it's Maye at 3, like, to me, you're getting at worst the second-best quarterback in the draft. Like,
yeah,
I just feel like that's too good of an opportunity to pass up if you are New England. Subscribe to the channel. We just hit 9,500 subscribers. Appreciate you guys for tuning in, subbing, supporting the show. We've said it for a couple of months. Once you get to 10,000 here at Chat Sports, that's really when we can start to ramp up the content here. So let's get to 10,000 subs. Can we get there by the end of March? We got about 10 days left. This is March after all. Help us get there. Hit the subscribe button. More coverage to come on Patriots Today. Now we shifted Daniel Jeremiah, Roley, who is he's higher on Maye than Kiper, by the way. He still thinks the Commanders could take Maye, even though there's been a lot of Daniels buzz. So he's got Maye going 2, and then the Patriots taking Jayden Daniels at number 3. I know we've kind of gone back and forth, like, on the Daniels train. We were on him early. I still like Jayden Daniels. Don't get it twisted. I will say this. I would at least be open to trading down if Caleb and Drake go 1 and 2. Taking Daniels is a perfectly acceptable option and a good one at 3. But again, I do think there's a gap there. Here's what Jeremiah had to say. He said, I'm sure the Patriots will receive lucrative offers for this pick. At the end of the day, they need to address the most important position on the field and could do so with the 3rd overall selection. And I think we're kind of on similar-ish pages here, Roley.
I mean, I completely agree with Daniel Jeremiah. I know you said you could be open to trading back from 3 if it goes Caleb 1, Drake Maye 2. I am not. I am fully shutting off that door. The only way that door can be slightly creaked open, and it's still slightly, is if Minnesota offers their first in this year, which is 11, and the other one they got in 23 in Justin Jefferson. I know a lot of people say maybe they'll offer next year's first. The only way I'm picking up that phone and considering trading down from number 3 is if they throw Jetta in there with 11 and 23, so New England could potentially go tackle, offensive weapon again to pair with Jetta, or go quarterback at 23 or 11, whatever they'd like. But that's the only way I'm doing it, because the Patriots need to find that franchise quarterback, and it is the number 1 priority in this offseason. And I think one of these 2 guys could be that. I'm going to stay firm with saying Drake Maye. I have him higher than Jayden Daniels. You heard my spiel about his ceiling, but I also think Jayden Daniels has the potential to be a top 10 quarterback in this league because he's got deep field accuracy. I think he's the most accurate down the field thrower in this draft class, especially at the hashes. He also just does not turn the ball over, and he's absolutely dynamic with the ball in his hands when he's scrambling or on designed runs. He'd be one of the best dual-threat quarterbacks in the league on day 1. I think Jayden Daniels can be that type of guy. It's just a matter of pick your poison. Obviously, New England doesn't really get the choice, but it's a matter of what you like. Do you want the kind of mobile guy but can stay in the pocket and absolutely deliver darts over the middle of the field, or do you want the uber-athletic mobile guy that can do it all?
And that's the only thing that concerns me about Daniels with New England in particular is I do agree. He is a great vertical thrower. He also had 2 guys that won very consistently at LSU. He's probably not going to have that in his rookie season with the Patriots. Like, that doesn't mean they're never going to be able to hit vertical shots. I understand that. But it's going to be challenging. Like, Alex Van Pelt is going to have to embrace him as a runner. You're going to have to run him a decent amount, especially early in his career, which you should do anyway because that's who he is as a prospect. I just feel like Drake Maye, which I think you agree with this part of it too, of what I'm saying. Like, yes, you want good pieces around him too, but I think he gives you a better chance to make it work because he can do more different types of throws than Daniels can. Daniels did not attack the middle of the field hardly at all last year. Now, is that the LSU offense? Is that he's hesitant to do that? I don't know. I mean, that's something that all these teams evaluating him have to figure out. I just worry that if you don't have guys that can consistently win on the outside vertically, which I think that's still a question mark and a fair one for New England right now, can Jayden Daniels come in and hit the ground running in his rookie year? Like, you don't necessarily need him to be awesome right away, but you don't want his confidence to be shot right away either. So it's my only concern. I would still probably take him here at 3. Like I said, I'm just open to the idea if I get overwhelmed with a trade offer there. So let us know what you guys think. Which quarterback would you pick if, say, both are available? I don't think both will be, but type DM for Drake Maye or JD for Jayden Daniels. Get your votes in down in the comment section below.
Yeah, if I had to type mine, I'm obviously typing my DMs. I just want to hammer this home one more time if it was not clear through the way I was speaking throughout the video. I'm taking Drake Maye over Daniels, but I'm fine taking either quarterback because the Pats need to find their guy. We talked about it on yesterday's show with the trading of a potential of T. Higgins and Brandon Ayuk. The best way to come and rebuild this team is to find your quarterback and get yourself a receiver. Look at the rest of the division. Rodgers, Garrett Wilson, Allen, Diggs, Tua, Tyreek, and Jalen Waddle. I mean, you have a quarterback that's top half in the league and weapons to go with it. New England has to follow that blueprint. Find your franchise quarterback with the 3rd overall pick, and then find your wide receiver to pair up with him and start to win games offensively sometimes rather than defensively.
Let me throw one curveball at you before we sign off, and maybe we explore this in a future video. Let's say it goes Caleb 1, Drake 2 to Washington, and it's Daniels at 3. What if Minnesota does come calling, and I don't think that scenario that you mentioned that you would take where it's Jetta's offer, but let's say it's 11-23 and next year's 1, something like that. What if you took that and they take McCarthy at 3? Because I do think Minnesota likes McCarthy more than Daniels.
I would agree. I also don't think...
But what if you trade back up? This is what I'm getting to, kind of what the Cardinals did last year. They traded back and traded back up for Paris Johnson. What if you call the Chargers at 5, say the Cardinals go MHJ at 4, you still get Daniels. Yeah. Obviously, this is a lot of you have to feel it out on... This would only be a draft night scenario, obviously.
Yeah.
But, what if you feel it out that way, you move back up, you still get your guy at 5, and you still have come out in the net positive in draft compensation. It's a risk. Someone could call Arizona at 4 and take him. I get that, but I just throwing it out there because I do think for Minnesota, plan A is trade up for Drake Maye, plan 2 is trade up for J.J. McCarthy. So it's going to be very interesting to see how this all plays out. Got just over a month until the NFL Draft. Again, we're going to cover it all here on the channel. Hit the subscribe button, turn on notifications, like this video if you enjoyed it, and we'll see you next time here on Patriots Today.